Hi, my name is Lauren and Davina, and this is a story time about uncertainty for the future and why I don't trust anybody who says they know what's coming next. I'm uncertain about the future as a professional director and artist. I'm uncertain as a mother. How do I help my 20-month-old adapt to a future that I can't predict? I'm uncertain about his future when I'm not around anymore and I can't protect him. I'm uncertain for my partner, who's a software engineer. I'm uncertain for my neighbors, my colleagues, my friends. The only person I am probably least uncertain for is my 77-year-old baby boomer mother, who lives in a warm cocoon of Netflix, broadcast television, PBS, and text messaging her baby boomer besties emails. I am 100% not uncertain for them because they're just not living in the same world we are. But Lauren, my mother, says, I lived through the 60s. I know what unrest is. Mother. Sweet, sweet mother. Yes, there was massive unrest in the 60s. Civil rights, women's rights, assassinations, war, but your life went linearly. It went from 1962 to 1963 to 1964 to 1965, not 2025 to like 2057 in a year. Anyway, before I go too far down the rabbit hole of uncertainty, which everyone seems to be experiencing except possibly baby boomers, I want to talk about where my uncertainty is coming from. And maybe you will find your own story in there, because a little known thing happened recently that barely made the news. In December this past year, a private equity firm bought up a bunch of legacy advertising agencies. They took these agencies and they collapsed them into one structure. Don Draper, but make it corporate. More importantly, 20,000 people lost their jobs. Now, I don't work in an agency. I'm not technically in advertising, but I work in an adjacent industry that lives and dies by advertising cycles. So this hit very close to home. I had a lot of colleagues, really talented colleagues at the height of their career, just lose their jobs overnight. And if you're wondering why the collapse of advertising agencies into this one monolithic mega structure would make me uncertain about the future, we need to go back to 2015. 2015. Doesn't it just feel so cozy to say? 2015. What happened in 2015? Basically, nothing. Because it was so quiet, too quiet, I naturally went looking for something to worry about. You see, I trained as a fine artist before I fell into advertising, specifically motion graphics. You've seen motion graphics. It's every end card in a Coke ad. End card meaning like the title card with the Coke sizzles and goes into the can in reverse and it looks really pretty sometimes. Every glossy graphic Nike transition and every beautifully art-directed Apple campaign. Motion graphics is just graphics, but moving. And it really took off in the early 2000s because of prosumer software. Things like Adobe's After Effects and Photoshop and Premiere. What used to cost millions of dollars to get your hand on these like very compute-heavy technical VFX software tools now was widely available to individuals. The barrier to entry dropped, and for a while, that industry paid really well because it was powered by advertising. And advertising is where the money is. And you know, money is nice. It helps you not worry about having money. So for an artist interested in technology, the motion design industry was a perfect fit. But in 2015, I noticed something strange. Budgets that used to be in the millions started to shrink. 800K, 600K, 400K, 200K, 100K. And as it turns out, there really was something to worry about. Well, it was at least the start of something to worry about, because 2015 was the year we started to see the cascading effects of mobile and social media. Streaming began to take more of a cut out of the film industry because of emerging giants like Netflix and Amazon. They also took little nibbles out of advertising until they took big old giant bites as direct-to-consumer e-commerce took flight. So you see, from 2015 onwards, this fast-changing world was experiencing major disruptors. And then COVID. COVID was actually the final straw in the movie industry in some very tangible ways. When's the last time you've been to a movie theater? Also, COVID represented a sort of boom in remote work, and then an even more massive growth in direct-to-consumer content because we were all locked away in our homes with nowhere to go but online. Why would Nike spend millions of dollars on a broadcast spot that no one sees when they can just pay like Kimberly Smith, who has no overhead, and 2.4 million followers on all of her socials with a authentic love for Nike products? Why wouldn't Nike just want to go directly to Kimberly Smith and her 2.4 million followers? Or Sean Brown, who has 600,000 followers, who can shoot a Coke can with prosumer electronics like this camera I'm shooting on and make amazing content of high-speed liquids going into cans. I'll admit, I'm even really impressed with those people, and I was like a high-speed particle liquid effects director for like a good portion of my career. I mean, why go through legacy media at all? Except to reach my mom and her boomer friends, who probably aren't even buying Nike. Now you may be thinking, I'm not in advertising and 20,000 jobs is not exactly the whole economy. True, but this really isn't about advertising. This is about patterns. No, AI is not taking your job. But it was COVID and the release of ChatGPT on November 20th in 2022 that truly accelerated the change of uncertainty. COVID did create job loss. And with the rise of certain aspects of work easily automated by AI, this has really begun to catapult into actual tangible reportable numbers. This would have been enough to disorient anyone, but add to that the rise of influencer marketing and e-commerce and AI and all these different sort of global disruptors has really accelerated this change. In some ways, the acceleration is amazing. I am a glass half full kind of girl, so just hear me out. Technology helps cure disease. It helps us connect when it's used in a compelling way. It helps us blend and break things to discover new things that we would never have automatically discovered on our own. But at its core, like its literal core, like binary code, like ones and zeros on and off, technology is about change, and change compounds. There's an old theory called the law of accelerating returns. Good technology builds better technology, builds the best technology, until we're in a state where reality starts feeling different. This thing we're all sensing but can't name. This is where the whole idea of the singularity comes in. The singularity is a thought experiment about a point where known rules break down. Most famously, the technological singularity, where AI becomes capable of improving itself in a feedback loop, making the future radically unpredictable. This is why I feel uncertain. It's the fact that we may have actually entered the singularity. Because in the past, uncertainty had recognizable shapes. Assassinations led to protests, which led to reform. War led to resistance, which led to, hopefully, the end of war. Today, we don't know if an AI-generated video could cause a catastrophic misunderstanding between world leaders. We can't even picture our children's futures anymore. It's not a smaller CD player. We solved that problem. There are no more CD players. We have Spotify. We've eradicated the CD player. I mean, is it implants? Do we become part machine? Do they become part machine? Do our kids even speak the same language that we did or have? Or do they speak like a pigeon talk? Sometimes, and I mean this as a compliment, I feel like Gen Z is already there. 6'7", friend group time mark? Guys, come on now, settle down. Like, all we got from my generation was cool and rad. These kids speak in a tongue and I secretly kind of love it. But is that the future? Faster and faster change, disruption after disruption, outpacing our ability to adapt. I wish I could end this video with some calm 2015 vibes. I cannot. But I want to share one thing. I had a dream that I was inside of a 4-dimensional book. But Lauren, there's no such thing as a 4-dimensional book. You are correct. But in the dream, it looked like this. I can't really do it, but imagine all of the pages are like overlapping. One page from this book, and then this book. They scissor. I'm gonna show you. That's a 4-dimensional book in the dream. I wasn't moving forwards or backwards. I was just sort of jumping through pages between like worlds. And I was terrified because like in this dream, I couldn't find the beginning, or I couldn't get back to some part of the world that I felt like I needed to get to. And my partner appeared and said very calmly, "You can't go back. This is how it is now. You can't navigate it. The only thing you can decide on is how you feel about it." And I was furious. I was raging. You know that feeling in a dream where it's like that adrenaline dump? I demanded he help me. I cried, I pleaded. It was like survival and he was my target. And he keeps looking at me and just saying every so often, "You can't go back, you can't go back." And then suddenly maybe like my adrenaline crashed or something happened in my real world or something, but I just felt this overwhelming sense of calm. Because all of them, my mom, my child, my partner, my dog that died, my dad that died, they were all still there, but it was just, they were also elsewhere. And I woke up and I realized something. I've never actually known how my life would turn out. I just thought I did. I never could control the future, but I can choose how I feel about uncertainty. And if I change the lens and uncertainty becomes curiosity instead of fear, it becomes less paralyzing. And maybe, dare I say, a little exciting. I don't really know what I'm talking about, but I had to say this out loud because as we move further into this future, its community, finding people who are curious instead of certain might be the only thing that keeps us all as crazy. So yeah, hang out in the comments, stick around if you're uncertain, but curiously so. Bye for now.